So I'm starting the pretty privilege freestyle, the step up, step back freestyle. I'm gonna end up calling it step up, step back, but it'll be like an AKA on privilege. Cause, excuse me, cause there's this hot take coming up about privilege. So if I actually do this in time, this can be done for the week. This can be posted for that week, but if I don't, that's too bad. It'll come out later. But yeah. Well, welcome to the Realm-of-Millenia. Be ye man, woman, child, or spirit creature, or demon. Be ye a native migrator, or maybe even some sort of invader into the realm. Welcome, for I am your host, the Millennium Mailman, here today, and I'll be world building for you long after you've already begun to acclimate and fit in. So sit back, relax, and please do enjoy me, Songbook Sunday, singing along to this freestyle I did. And by all means, be entertained as I floppingly try to recreate this freestyle. I do believe everything. If I don't get everything, or if I feel like I don't talk about enough stuff, I'll just make like a precursor video to be posted before this video for you to better understand the things I failed to mention in this video itself. But yeah, either I'll put it in like a precursor video, or I'll just like make a after a post video for it and call it that, rather than calling it a precursor, because I post it beforehand, before this actual video. If you don't understand what that is, or any of those words, just look for the week directly after this week, or the week directly behind it, or in front of it, and you'll have a better grasp of what nonsense I was spewing for that minute. But anyways, in this video, I'll be recreating a freestyle I call step up, step back, in lieu of like the viral trend that was going on. But as I try to recreate this, I don't have the actual song instrumental that I was singing to. So it might be hard, because I have very bad speed control when it comes to singing. So I do apologize. That, and the fact that I digress a lot. So even, I believe, when I was making the freestyle as well on the spot, I digress into a few pockets that allowed me to unlock my third eye and make a couple of lyrics and for the verses, that just made it a world greater. And especially like highlighted, this was an in the moment thing. It was not pre-written or anything. It was off the dome. But I don't have any of that. Plus, I'm not sitting in a car sweating myself to death. So I'm in the comfort of my own home, still sweating to death. But because it's bipolar Florida, and what better world to be than. But yes, I am stalling because I don't like my own voice. Let me turn this noise canceling on real quick so I don't hear myself as much as I could. But yes, so for this step up, step back song, it was about privilege, essentially. And for the first minute and some change, I was explaining what privilege was. So like, and then after that, I just went on this rampage calling out everyone, "You're privileged, you just don't know it. You're privileged, you just don't know it." And then so that was the like step up piece. And then after that, I shifted gears, started calling everyone privileged, and then kind of kind of got into some sort of groove about it, and then shifted into the last page where I said step back, and I started rage baiting everyone who feels like they aren't privileged and saying, you privileged too, so all y'all can shut up. I'm not going to talk much about how bad you people are because I'm pretty privileged myself. Right? But at the same time, we do need to figure out, now that I have identified that the gap is this big between those who are privileged and those who aren't, and the gap between those who are more privileged than the other privileged folk is other privileged folk way over here, and then super privileged folks are way over here, right? So pretty privileged. Da, 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 da. So yeah, I am stalling. Don't gotta question it. Because if my memory serves me right, the song came out to be like 7 minutes long of actual me just freestyling. So expect this to be a long one. Even if I cut out the corners here and there, it'll still be like a 30-minute video, I'm sure. But understand, this is a recreation, so take it as you will. I'm definitely going to be much slower about it than I was in the original one because I'm recreating it. And if I ever get self-conscious, I'm just going to stop singing and I'm just going to say the lyrics I used. So, for the first part anyway, because I digress too much, let's get into it. So there was a specific something that the artist who was using that beat for a freestyle said that kind of grinded my gears for some sort or another. And that made me go on this whole like dictionary definition versus connotation expository on what it means to be privileged. So again, I don't have the beat with me. I have no idea which beat it was, so there's no hope for that. But I'm gonna just try to stick with my cadence to my tempo of sorts when I try to recreate the singing the whole way through. And that'll be the only time I say that. Privilege. But again, the dude tried to say something about privilege and it just kind of like grinded my gears. So the first thing I said about it when joining in on the freestyle for the beat that just kept looping around in the background as I tried to hop in on this guy's freestyle was like, hey, privilege isn't what everyone sees privilege to be. People will over glorify it and all that. But privilege ain't what everyone really thinks it to be. Privilege just means you got benefits and never had to suffer the same hush that other people had to suffer and go through. All it takes to be privileged is for you to benefit off something you never had to do yourself. All privilege really is you mighty healthy while other people are losing their health. Privilege isn't about who got more or who got less. Privilege is about who suffered to have that and who didn't, right? So if you want to talk about a father who did this and sacrificed his health for the wealth in your pocket, you looking pretty privileged to even have that father who did what he did and didn't come home so you could stay at home, right? It's privilege for you to even have a roof when you and your family never went through hard times to even have that opportunity. It's pretty privileged how from the moment you lived your life, from the moment you breathed new life, you never had to worry about this and that. You are privileged for all the things you got and never had to pay. You are privileged for all the things you say and didn't have to worry about some itchy fingered spray and prayer, right? There is privilege in the way that you live your life. There's privilege in the way that others have to strive. Privilege is about I forget what it was. And it's pretty, by that point I didn't say pretty privileged. I know I already used it 2-3 times, but I just said privileged because it wasn't until I actually went down the list of later on. But anywho's, before I get to all, it's privileged. You're privileged to and you're privileged for I forget what that one was, but from there, that was like the first minute and a half, 2 minutes of the expository section on saying what exactly privilege is. So that's the first 2 minutes. Slide it to the side. The next piece was me going into like identifying, pointing fingers, like who and what is privilege and who is it, who got it and who don't. And for that next section, I was identifying like, hey, there's white privilege, there's black privilege. And I know I didn't say black privilege ever, but I know the first one I said, like, there's white privilege. And it was because the actual artist himself said that this white privilege running rampant. And again, it was a white dude, redneck, or Irishman, Irish, Scottish descendant from the redness of his beard and hair, who was talking about privilege in his freestyle, right? And he said white privilege, so I made it, and it was grinding my beard, so I made it like the first one I identified, and I know that. I know for a fact the first example of privilege I gave was white privilege because that was the main one he was harping on in his freestyle. So, but from where that went, I have no idea. I just know that I ended up going to pretty privileged, talking about the woman's pretty privilege, and then talking about black excellence and going from there into a couple of other categories. So it's like, talking about what it means, what privilege means, to examples of it, and to getting into that stew. So white privilege is the concept that white makes right, not might makes right, white makes right, right? I was given this like history lesson of sorts. White privilege is the concept of white makes right. Male privilege is the concept that, darn, what did I say? Male privilege is the concept that I have a million things I could say right now just for the sake of it, but I'm trying to recreate it. And there was like a particular thing I said. So pardon me for the slowness, but when it was flowing off the dome, it was perfect the way it was. So white privilege is the concept that white makes right. Male privilege is the concept that women will never be right. Male privilege is the concept women will never be. White privilege is the concept that white makes right. Male privilege, the kind of concept that no woman could ever get right. Girl privilege is the pettiest of all. Pretty privileged how they never had to ever start working at all. I'm pretty sure that was what I said. And from there, I'm like, ooh, I like the sound of pretty privileged. I'm going to go into that. So it's pretty privileged how blacks can talk about this excellence. How blacks can talk about this excellence. Like, you can't even see my fingers. It's pretty privileged how blacks can always talk about this excellence like it's theirs. Pretty privileged how, what's the word? Nepotisms never have to work for theirs. Pretty privileged how you can just pass it off to your heirs, because that is what nepotism is. Nepotism is the child of someone great who worked for their stuff, passing it on to their children's or giving it to their children's, where someone else, probably more qualified, should have the job, the position, or the status, or whatever it is. Nepotism is, nope, I'm gonna give it to my 5-year-old. Brother, I'm 35. I'm in the peak of my career. No, I'm 45, the peak of my career. You're dead and dying, bro. You're 65. At least let me hold on to it for a little bit. Nah, I'm gonna give it to my 5-year-old who can't even say full sentences. That's nepotism, right? It's pretty privileged how a nepotisms never have to work for theirs. Pretty privileged how they always end up giving it to their heirs, right? And from that moment, I'm like, yeah, I like this pretty privileged scheme. I'm gonna just work with that. So step up if you know all about that. Step up if you always had someone who had your back. Step up if someone gave their life so you wouldn't have to do that. Step up if step up, step up, step up. I used it at least 6-7 times, and then I went back to the pretty privileged scheme. And I kept it racial because, again, I was working off this little 45-second clip of this guy doing a freestyle in his car. It was probably like a minute and a half, right? But I was basing my freestyle off of listening to him freestyle on listening to this clip. So every time I heard the beat, I was actually listening to him say the freestyle all over again, say all his lyrics, say all his verses. I was listening to him on repeat, trying to listen to the beat every time I went through. So when I went back to the pretty privileged scheme, most of the pretty privileged was a bit racist, not racist, racial. Save myself, never beating that allegation. Every time I said pretty privileged from that point, it was me like, okay, we're cycling back, and he said the thing that grinds my gears and annoyed me again, so I'm gonna bring it back to pretty privileged. And after the second time of me bringing it back, because I went on that whole tirade of step up, step up, step up, step up, pretty privilege, step up, step up, step up, a step, pretty privilege, oh, step back. If, since we're talking about a step back, go ahead, step back if you ever had to squeeze your belt to feed your kids. Step back if you ever had to do this or that, right? And for that first part of saying step back, 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 I was just going on this whole tirade of targeting that trend. Like, if I was there in a room and they were trying to do this trend, part of it, yeah. But more importantly, after we see everyone crying because, oh my gosh, dad hasn't moved forward. You never got to live your life with your parents before? Oh, your parents kicked you out? Step back. I just went through a list of questions. Like, everyone always talks about the simple questions like, step up if you never had to pay rent. Step up if you never had to do this. Take a step forward if you always could trust and believe this. Step forward if you... But what about the questions you would ask that person who hasn't stepped up yet? What are some questions you would ask to see if they could step forward? Or questions you would ask just to prove how down bad they had it, right? Step back if you never considered wanting to know your... Like, take a step back if you know someone who died. Take a step back if that person died in front of your face. Take a step back if they were alive. If someone you love or loved you was alive, looked at you now, and would have nothing but disgrace, right? Take a step back if the one you love would hate you now. Take a step back if you had someone's back and they made you doubt. I was trying to say, like, if take a extra step back if, like, if you had the back of someone who didn't have yours, but it didn't rhyme. So I just understand. I did use that in there. I would say that's one of the moments I fumbled it a bit more, because I was really trying to force it to work. And it just didn't. So I just mulled over it and said, and said the next one, like, take another step back, actually. Like, don't focus on the fact that didn't rhyme. Don't focus on that. Don't focus on it. Just take another step back. I'm going to say another one. Take another step back. Right? And then when I got out of there, because I'm pretty sure that was like the second to last one. Like, it didn't rhyme at all. So I tried to, like, know what? I'm gonna take a break from these take a step backs and go back into the pretty privileged scheme again, because that one didn't rhyme at all. I tried to mull over it, but I gave myself a teeny buffer because I did one more that did rhyme with everything else again. I'm like, okay, that one didn't rhyme. Okay, we got another one that rhymes. Now we're going to ignore that and move on. And from there, after the first connection with, like, take a step back, take a step back, take a step back, I was starting to accuse from the perspective, like, hey, notice how all you are up there and all of me and mine are back here. We said everything to have you step up. Now we said a few more things and we're stepped back. And look at that. None of you even stepped back. I gave y'all an opportunity to come possibly be closer to the rest of us. And all of us are somehow even further than when we gave you that opportunity to step back. Crazy magic how that works, right? I gave you an opportunity to step back and prove how unprivileged you were. And the only thing that happened is we're even further away from you. Look at that. All y'all are the majority of the ones talking about somebody privileged, and yet still we're the ones over here doing all the suffering. Suffering is a part of privilege, remember? Right? So it's pretty privileged how you have all that stuff to say, and yet we're the way back here. Right? We already talked about how privilege is all about the benefits and the suffrage. The key word, and suffrage. You got all the benefits, but we got all the suffrage. So who is the privileged one? Oh yeah, that's right. That's you. That's you. You're privileged because you got all the benefits and none of the suffrage. At least some of the people over here did suffer. Everyone who took even one step back is no longer privileged because they suffered a little bit. They had to suffer in order to get to where they were. They went through any amount of suffrage, right? I gave you all those options and all those opportunities. You know what? I'm going to give you a second one, but after I finish here, right? So take a step back, take a step back, take a step back. Well, look at this. Look at this great divide here. I gave you an opportunity to do it. I'm going to give you a second one, but let me go ahead and talk on through it. go ahead and let me talk on through it, right? So it's pretty privileged how you guys got your way. It's pretty privileged how we are men and we got that male privilege for the way we stay. It's pretty privileged how we can talk to one another and not get mad and can always be involved. But isn't it pretty privileged how you women get to speak at all? That was pretty sexist of me. I know. It was one of the lyrics. It was one of the lyrics, right? It's pretty privileged how we men get to talk to one another, but isn't it pretty privileged how you women get to even speak at all? It's not my proudest verse in there, but since I have to explain myself, it does in fact make me laugh. It was one of the lyrics. I'm sorry. It's pretty privileged how we men get to talk to one another and not worry. But isn't it pretty privileged how you women even get to speak at all? It's pretty privileged how the children never got to be hungry, and pretty privileged that only we suffered and hungered to make sure that you guys always ate. It's pretty privileged. And I don't remember all of them, but there was a number of them laced in there, so figure it out. That's because, dude, it was months ago I did that freestyle, and I really should have made this Sunday video much sooner, but I was stalling. I was for sure stalling, and I digress. But there in that first half, when I diced over to the privileged, I made like a subtle reference to like that black privilege again. And I said I'd get back to that because I just really wanted to do the scheme of step back again, right? So I said like a few more step back. Made the big reference to look how much bigger the divide is yet again. And I can't even say I'm the most suffered through it because I'm pretty privileged too, because my mother's way the frick back there. I'm like, my mother is even further back there than even I am, right? So I wanted to like ease a little bit of the tension to say like, hey, you might feel like I'm targeting you, but when I was saying all these things, I was looking from the viewpoint of me stepping forward, and my mother's all the way back there. So you might feel like I'm targeting you. No, I'm targeting me, because my mom's the one who I look to back there, because I'm looking at the divide just like I told you to. You thought I was telling you to look at it? I was telling myself to look at how big this gap is between the privileged, me, a child, to my mother way over there who's already dead, in her grave, 6 feet deep, even beneath that, and over there, she's not privileged in any means because she's already fucking gone. Rest in peace, right next to Rosa Parks, because y'all both gone. Like, I'm pretty privileged to be alive right now from the opportunities my mothers and ancestors gave us, right? I'm privileged because of all the Black civil rights movements that worked and did something, and I recognize that. So even if you think I'm targeting you, I'm not. I was targeting myself, and if you feel offended, go fuck yourself. Because this is me being me, right? So I said that. I said a lot of words there, but I honestly said like 2 verses, which encapsulated all that, right? So if you were a lyricist and you could dig deeper into the verse, into the lyrics I used, you could find all of that in there. But at the same time, I only said 2 verses. Like, look at this big divide was the verse before it. And why people calling me make video? I always tell you guys around what time I'm making videos.